This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It's another reason no one likes StarCraft 2, because nothing ever works in this game. All the options are dumb. They all just reset for no reason. Alright guys, first match here is going to be played on the fucking worst overlay we've seen in the last 4 years. And we'll get that fixed up after game number 1. Obviously, not much we can do about it right now in-game, and obviously no reason for it to have reset, which is why we're sort of, well, yeah, we just didn't expect it to reset at all, because why would my overlay reset when it, it just saves every time? I don't know. Hurts my head. Guys, at the bottom right-hand side of the map, our Blue Protoss player, give it up. If you're cheering on Armor Team's ShoWTimE in this best of 5 semi-final matchup. And to the bottom left is going to be our Red Zerg player from Psystorm Gaming. Give it up if you're cheering on True. Set up into this, look to see how it's going to go as we see a hatch gas pool opening out of True in the early stages. And again, well, when we saw him playing the other day, he was playing some very aggressive playstyles from kind of queen drop based plays through to just mass roaches and really just trying to play kind of, it's something we saw kind of way back when, you know, like heavy roach numbers throughout the games. You know, it was kind of like Stefano's style for a long time. It's what Stefano became heavily famous for in ZVP and so on. And nowadays, it's just nothing that really, it's just something that we don't really see, but it's what True's been doing. Very aggressive, low tech, very low number of units, very low up, well, a lot of units, but very low tech, you know, low upgrades. And again, just no real tech advancement, which really slows him down as the game continues, so. Anyways, we see the probe just push rolling here. What I'm just trying to say is that True's playing very aggressively, and I don't know, I feel as though ShoWTimE has a playstyle which, because he's always the defensive player, the player who's looking to sit back, defend, and get into the later stage of the game, I struggle to imagine how True is going to find a way to be aggressive enough against ShoWTimE to break him with a mass roach strategy. Something a little bit weirder, like kind of, you know, Link Queen drops and that sort of stuff. Yeah, sure, maybe that's going to work out, but I think just straight up mass roaches, I feel as though ShoWTimE's the sort of player who would excel against something like that and having his multitasking tested and all the rest of it. Although that said, we are on Newkirk Precinct as well, and I'd be surprised to see True kind of going for that build at all, considering that to kind of bust through with those roaches, you know, he really relies on kind of heavy mobility and hitting in multiple locations. That's not going to happen here on Newkirk Precinct because the third and the natural are going to be very close to each other, so it should be rather easy for ShoWTimE to defend those sort of situations. Give me a moment, guys. I'm just going to very quickly whack the sound up a little bit, because we did turn it down the other day, and it's definitely way too quiet right now. It should be a little bit better now. Hopefully the game sounds are going to be listenable to, as we do see the probe just coming back in towards the natural expansion. Robo facility about halfway done here. And the Dark Shrine is on the way up as well from ShoWTimE. Hiding this right over to the side, and as True comes into the main base with his first overlord, he's not going to see anything at all. Dark Shrine not scouted, Twilight not scouted. In fact, look at that line of vision, which he just did not see anything out of. Whoa, that's so sick. ShoWTimE really getting away with hiding those buildings there. And, well, obviously True is going to be able to now sort of play defensively and safely because he doesn't know what's coming his way. So he has to kind of play blind, which should mean Spore Crawlers just in case and all the rest of it as well. And ShoWTimE, you'll see how exactly this Archon drop's going to go. For now, it looks to be 2 gates. Possibility maybe for the double Archon drop, as in, you know, 2 Warp Prisms. We've been seeing that a little bit as of late. And, I mean, that's definitely something we could see coming in. I think it's something which ShoWTimE used against PandaBearMe on Friday during the round of 8, although they're saying that it might have been someone else as well. We casted so many PvZs, man. It's difficult to say. It's difficult to judge. Anyways, a couple of links come back over to the left-hand side. Creep still pushing out through the center. And then we're just going to be seeing, again, True setting it up, establishing and seeing where he can get to. Pylon comes down for ShoWTimE towards the third base. First 2 Dog Templar warping on in. We don't see a follow-up second Prism or anything like that, though. Just 2 DTs. We have been seeing this kind of 2 gateway Archon drop play, more so than the 4 gateway lately as well, because it allows you to get the third Nexus just that little bit sooner, and people have realized that you still end up with 2 Archons at a pretty reasonable time anyways, as running in towards this mineral line, only a Queen in position right away, and so, despite the Spore Crawler being here, it's still going to be a whole bunch of drones that get shot down, so 6 or 7 drones fallen as we're going to see True immediately launching a counterattack towards the third Nexus. Overcharge will pop immediately. No units on this low ground though to help this Pylon, and the Pylon drops. Probe 2, and now some DTs will come down to try and respond to this, but man, They're going to be pretty slow to work their way through all of these Zerglings. Cancels both the pylons, brings 2 more DTs back. Really serious about saving this third Nexus, and he will keep it alive, which is important. And I mean, I guess at the same time, ShoWTimE wanted to come back to pick those 2 DTs up anyways. Archon will finish morphing, and Lings will not realistically be able to stick around in any sort of justifiable manner. So ShoWTimE defends, and probably will now look to get it back across to the left-hand side of the map, try and pick up a bit more damage. As an Archon drops down, we are going to see the first Overlord start to take some hits. So an Overlord here will go down, and then popped here by the Archon. 2 Archons lifting back into the Prism. I'm going to get set to go over to the left-hand side of the map. Hydrogen is just over halfway done. Evolution Chamber dropping down in the natural expansion as well. There's a whole bunch more Zerglings continuing to roll on out. ShoWTimE just continues to set up in towards the later stages of his game, though. The Forge is on the way down, about to finish up, and as he builds up into Immortals 2, he really is just looking for his follow-up here as he continues to harass and tries to pick up drone kills and whatever else he can find at this stage of the game, where obviously the more he can get done, the better a position he leads himself into for the latter stages. And as the game goes, again, into those later stages, we'll be able to see ShoWTimE with a lot of different opportunities and a lot of different possibilities. As for now, Prism will pull back through the south side of the map. A whole bunch of Hydras on the way up from True. We did see a lot of Lurker Base play out of True, actually, back on Friday as well. I keep referring to Friday because, I mean, it's a great kind of preface to kind of these matchups we're going to see tonight, because we saw so many PvZs, and it was obviously including these players. So it does give us a good idea of how they're going to play, and yeah, True definitely was all about using some of those Lurkers at points. So yes, going into the... Ooh, nice catch. Kills the Warp Prism with some Hydras up top. That's huge, actually. Archon's going down in that as well. That's a big catch. But yeah, I mean, as Hydras pop and the Musket Ogwins finishes, don't be surprised to see the Lurker Den starting up straight away. Although for now, Bane and the Nest dropping down, looking as though True actually just wants to play kind of a Ling Bane Hydra sort of thing. We'll see if he still gets that Lurker Den anyways. Maybe it's something he plays along with. As well, for now, ShoWTimE whooping in a few more Zealots, missing the Archons back at home. Again, losing the 2 of them really will affect him here, because that's 2 Archons which would add so much into this fight in the upcoming moments. And I wonder if it means that ShoWTimE would actually move across the map as aggressively as he usually might. Does warp in or hallucinate an Archon here, and you can only imagine that hallucination is just for a little bit of a scare factor to the Zerg player. And, you know, as the Zerg player sits over here, you just gotta look at this and be like, well, you know, if there's an Archon there, maybe I don't, you know, maybe I'm not as eager to attack in. So ShoWTimE still have a few units just clamping on up, and as his Temple Archive still isn't done, he just warped in a few more DTs to warp in those Archons, but obviously does want those up and part of the army. It's going to be a big help against the Zerglings, etc. And Banelings too, you know, if you can take those down nice and quickly as they roll into you, well, you're going to have a much better time in the overall engagement. As you see, the 4th Nexus now on the way up, a pylon next to it as well. And these few Zealots continuing to just work their way through these rocks to the top side. The cooling tower will drop, and it just makes that 4th base of ShoWTimE that little bit safer for the upcoming moments of the game. Obviously not impossible to break down and push through, but it does again give ShoWTimE a little bit of time the first time True tries to attack up here, so definitely worth blocking off. I mean, otherwise you gain no advantage at all, where, you know, it's very easy for him to gain that advantage. Those few Zealots very quickly cleaning out the cooling tower, and then starting to head across the top side of the map. So they're going to move over towards the far left. As we see, the Psionic Storm is about halfway done. The +2 weapons is coming up as well from ShoWTimE. +2 melee also on the way from True. Very late upgrades from our Zerg player though. Quite often you see nowadays the melee upgrades starting so early in the game, as early as 4 to 5 minutes. And, well, for +2 to only just be starting, he was about 2 minutes behind on that. So, again, a bit, you know, True just didn't prioritize that melee upgrade early, and that might affect him here. It means his Banes aren't going to be quite as effective for a little while. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could be aggressive now, but I wonder if that kind of, again, ineffectiveness of the Banes might be something he just holds back because of. He does have Bane speed at least, which is one of the big things. That's always going to be important in a fight. As ShoWTimE, though, has been given plenty of time, and really, I mean, he's given all the time in the world to do what he wants. I mean, he's warped in a whole bunch of High Temple. He's going to have plenty of Storms available, which is sort of the dream ability against this Hydra Bane composition, because you're just going to be with Storms able to work your way not through just the Banelings, but through Hydralisks and just so much more as well in general. As we see pushing down this side, well, ShoWTimE just drop a couple of Force Fields, but there's a gap. And we are going to see some good splash damage actually coming down here, working his way through a good amount of shields and Zealots as well. Now these shields will start to regenerate. Oh no, ShoWTimE is not ready for this fight at all. Nice Storms to sort of recover before the High Templar drop to the Banelings, but ShoWTimE is in full-on retreat mode, pulling all the way back to this right-hand side, and I mean, he is really looking to see what he can get done right now. as True, as he wants to push in. He knows how good a fight that was for him, and, well, looking for another fight here potentially in the next couple of moments. Lings, Banes, and Hydras all just moving up to the top and looking to see what they might be able to get done here, as it doesn't look as though it's going to be anything too crazy. He's just going to be True backing away just a little bit, but then you will now push in towards the fourth base. Man, ShoWTimE just caught so out of position there. First of all, not ready for those Banes rolling in on the south side, and then True just looking at that opportunity and taking it as a chance to move forwards with the rest of his army to take a larger fight to push him into a better position. ShoWTimE will push this army of True away through the top side of the map, and we'll see a lot more Bane lanes morphing in once again. I mean, True is morphing in a lot of Banes throughout this game, as we see the Lurker Den being added on also. I mean, ShoWTimE has a good composition against the Lurkers, though. Zealots with Charge, Mortals, and Archons. It's kind of your go-to against the Lurkers initially, although, of course, in the later stages, as time numbers rise, Disruptors will be a big addition to the composition, as will any sort of Sky-based units as well. As, oh my god, how many Banelings are going to be on the map here? 47 plus 41, guys. I don't like to do math on stream, but if you ask me, that comes out at 88. 88 Banelings potentially on the map here very shortly. A couple of them going down right away here, unfortunately, but well, we see already some of them going to roll in towards this third base, and they're just going to look for pylons and whatever they can find, really. But actually, the pylons and the cannons here doing a good job of slowing a lot of them down, but still 5 or 6 Banes will start to hit on some probes. They'll force the bust as he hits the mineral line here, or hits the wall. And, well, good response by ShoWTimE, really. Didn't lose that many workers in the end, considering the situation, as True has a lot of stuff, though, and here we go. Ooh, 2 storms baited out by True. Beautiful by him, because he really didn't invest that much at all to make that happen. High Templar pulling back, making sure they're not reachable by those Banelings as they just keep trying to roll forwards. As True, he's got the money to morph in Lurkers if he wants to. Hasn't felt the need so far, but definitely something he might want to try and do, as Lings and Banes coming up to the northern side, getting ready to roll on forwards here in the very near future as well. 24 more Zerglings on the way out. Infestation Pit, about 40% of the way done. As here we go. Big Storm to start helping this defense, and it will actually help these couple of cannons out quite a bit if you can just shut down a few more of these units in a couple of shots rather than 4, in 1 shot rather than 2 for Lings and Banes. So the Storm actually does go a long way. And it's going to be a pretty effective cleanup by ShoWTimE. Does lose some workers, but sort of inevitable given the situation. Down about 18 workers at the moment as he finds some Banes at the front here as well. Again, losing some shields. But past that, not too much else. And I mean, that's awesome as well, those Archons want to make sure they're here as well. Archons will be a big part of the damage dealt to True's army in these upcoming fights, as we now see a fleet beacon added on from ShoWTimE. Another Stargate as well. Still setting up into this as we see Zealots charging in towards the top left middle line. And that's going to be True, taking some damage as ShoWTimE. And again, just showing True what he can do, saying, hey, look, you know, you feel as though you're doing all the damage, look at me. I'm getting some damage done as well. You know, you be afraid of me. You be afraid of this army. Make sure you're on your toes, because I can strike anywhere whenever I really want to. That's all the freedom of being Protoss and being able to warp in massively. So, does force True to think about that a little bit more, as we will see Lings and Banes rolling in towards the third Nexus. This time, no response from ShoWTimE. He's just going to lose those workers, as these Banes now still trying to get away, maybe back up in towards this base. ShoWTimE's economy is going to start looking very poor very soon. 43 workers, and that's about a drop, of course, as these Banes roll in once again. +2 helping to just one-shot the probes. And all of a sudden, ShoWTimE just 33 probes left on the map. True really doing a good job with this harassment. Probes will be rebuilding quickly off of 4 Nexus, but of course, not exactly an ideal situation, as we see Archons, High Templar, and Mortals all join together, getting set to move through the center of the map here. Look to see where they can go. Carrier on the way up, going up to being about halfway done. As we see a few Banes just going to actually roll around, and we'll catch a sentry and maybe a couple of Zealots. Storm to help out. A lot more Ling Bane looking to run by into the fourth once again. A couple of Archons actually left here to help defend, as they're going to be seeing the first cannon will indeed, well, buy some time. And, well, then there's just so many Banelings, I guess, is the issue. They're going to keep on rolling and see where they can get to. Of course, that's where those Archons are useful. Mothership Core as well. Preemptive overcharge. Really lovely overcharge from such a distance away. As we see the 2 last Banes do not make the mineral line. And ShoWTimE finds True out of position to the top left. He moves on forwards, and he's immediately just going to take down this hatchery. No problem at all. Now a couple of these eggs going to be popped as well. And ShoWTimE, well, that's a really nice pickup for him. Free, doesn't cost him anything at all. And, you know, he's able to back away from it very easily. At least up into the corner. Backing away completely across the map might be difficult, as we see a large counterattack from True. Now ShoWTimE Just have to find a little bit of a better way to respond to this. As we see True going to wrap around, and those Hydras especially being added into this now makes so that just a couple of Archons aren't really going to make all the difference. A few Lings left over here. Mothership Core was pulling back, actually. Maybe getting ready to defend on the free bases. He recognizes that this could become a base trade. ShoWTimE seemingly thinking that he can maybe catch some units down here, but decides he can't, pulls back. High Templar leading the charge. Not where you want to be if those Banes start rolling in, though. Nice Storm on one or two of the drones, and definitely does help out again. And he still has Storm energy left, which is obviously the important part of this, is ShoWTimE pushing through here across the map. I mean, he's given up this base. He's building some carriers very slowly, albeit, but he is building them, getting them into play to try and help out in these upcoming engagements. As Moore's leading the charge once again, as Spinecrawler taking a couple of shots right away and actually starting to get taken down very quickly. See a Storm also coming down here, and I'm surprised that True hasn't at any point of this actually built any lurkers, you know? It feels as though he's had a lot of time to set that up, and it could be the sort of thing that slows ShoWTimE down right here, as True will have to start thinking about the fight he wants to take. Banes are going to get stormed once again. To the top right, we see some Storms too on top of the Hydras. Carrier coming across the map after cleaning up the Zerglings across the map. As we see ShoWTimE, they're going to have to start retreating away from this. These Interceptors are trying to do their best against these Hydras. ShoWTimE's still just trying to do the impossible and save this carrier, but it is actually working out, and he will pull it away, killing some Hydras in the process. Both players have taken heavy economic losses, and well, I would say True comes out a bit worse off because he doesn't actually have a base to mine from him until, I guess this one just up here is now finished up. ShoWTimE already having that one in position, so you can start saturating this right away. And well, if we actually go and look at the income tab quickly, you can see that momentarily both players are in very weak economic positions, but that is very liable to change. I kind of feel as though True is maybe in a bit of trouble. His army relies quite heavily on outmassing his opponent, you know, having a good amount of eco and being able to rebuild, remax, and attack again, and rebuild, and remax, and attack again, and so on and so on. ShoWTimE's army relies on lower numbers of units, and, you know, just having a bunch of Archons up here already is a pretty good case to just push on across and to get something done. The couple carriers in the sky will also be difficult to fight against, and he's actually morphing a few of his own Hydras into lurkers now. So that's also interesting, because obviously the carriers can get rid of lurkers. However, Corruptors are here and they're trying to help out. We see the Warp Prism, some micro on these Archons to keep them alive, and well, Corruptors get pushed away. So if these lurkers come forwards now, well, is there an Observer? No, there isn't. Oh yes, there is. So I mean, these Interceptors can just work their way through this anyway. Some Archon Micro 2 cleans up the lurkers, and ShoWTimE continuing to fight, looking as though he just has enough. This base will be shut off, and that is the only mining base of True. Top right, ShoWTimE was having to pull away from a run by as well, though. But he is now able to send his probes back there. And again, that's going to be one of the real differences. ShoWTimE gets back to mining, and True just does not have a way to get into that sort of direction. He's long distance mining this low ground base now, but obviously ShoWTimE is pushing into position. And well, True only has 4 Corruptors and a couple of Queens. He has some Zerglings as well, which are going to run by once more. Probes will once again pull away in towards the natural expansion. Few of them will go, a lot of them will go down the process. Actually, not a mineral walk, and ShoWTimE loses a lot of economy, but again, I wonder if just a little bit of eco he gained out of this already is a bit too much. Carriers have gone down across the map. All True has to do is stop the Hydras coming in and morphing into lurkers, but I mean, that might be more easily said than done. ShoWTimE not with mining anymore either. 6 Archons and 1 Zealot. The Zealot holding the wall over here. Sentry 2 to help him kind of force field and keep that away. 2 Broodlords morphing. Wow, where from? Where's the Broods? Where actually are they? Over here? Over here? I actually have no idea where those Broodlords are. Oh my god. There they are, all the way up here. Man. I mean, 2 Broods is nice, but I actually think the number of Archons that are still out is enough to push through a couple of Broodlords, you know? You know, I think very easily you're going to be able to kind of work your way through the Broodlords that drop down, and then, again, just move your way in towards the Broodlords afterwards. So, I mean, he's got a lot of Zerglings as well. I think the Prism Micro will still be very important. 6 Archons, though, you can't deny that they're going to be very difficult to deal with. We see +3 upgrades on these against just +2 melee from Zerg. Again, set up and look to see what he can do as he brings everything together. These Archons with some serious kills. 35, 33, 26, 15, 23, 28. Like, it's crazy. 47 kill Archon as well at the moment. As you see the Broodlords. Where are they? They're not here? They are here. They're just being... well, they're just so far away. Again, these Archons are not dying very quickly as he slowly works his way through structures to make himself a little bit more accessible. Dropping the Archons down, snipes 1 Broodlord. I mean, it's going to be a very similar tale for the second Broodlord here as well, as we see the micro continuing. As, ooh, does actually lose the Warp Prism. Pretty big deal, but at the very end. True only has 4 supply left, now 3. It's that Hydra and 1 drone that's next to it. There's going to be 1 supply. No, the Hydra gets away. True, microing his heart out at the very end. I mean, I think he knows it's over, obviously, but one of those situations is just so close. 22 supply to 0 to finish things off, and that is actually a pretty insane again, guys. I apologize. Trust me, I enjoy casting from this as much as you guys enjoy watching from this overlay. As we kick off into the bottom right-hand side of the map, our blue Protoss player from Armor Team is ShoWTimE. He's going up against the red Zerg player to the top left from Sidestorm Gaming. It is true. I really can't figure out why my overlay keeps resetting to the default overlay instead of just staying on game hard. It's happened so much lately. And it's really frustrating because obviously it's not the sort of thing you check before every single stream. And coming out of game 1 and getting ready for game 2, I just completely blanked on actually updating the overlay to be the correct one. So I do apologize. We're going to have to deal with this just for now, guys. Again, sorry. Should have been fixed. My fault. You can all blame me. And with that said, we'll kick off into this game and see what's going to happen. Game 2 of this best of 5. True against ShoWTimE. What are we feeling, guys? Crazy game 1. I mean, ShoWTimE really making some mistakes in the earlier game sort of fights and the early engagements really gave True a lot of momentum and a lot of stuff to, a lot of room to work with, really. And, well, he held on time after time after that. And then he went into this sort of weird base trade scenario, which went very well for him. And, I mean, what a base trade it turned out to be. We went down to 0 supply against 22. It was very close until the end. Some necessary Archon micro with the Warp Prism to help kill off a couple of Broodlords towards the back of the army. And, well, that was where ShoWTimE sealed the deal. But, man, it was absolutely crazy. Like, when you really think about the game, like, it was so close. Really coming down to the wire towards the very end. So, pretty crazy stuff as we do just see this probe going down to the south side. And, meanwhile, True just going to scat across, have a little bit of a look to see what's going on and what is happening. Bouncing Cow in the chat asking how many games have been missed so far. This is just our second game of the night. We did have quite a heavy delay getting a start here this evening, so we are only in our second game of the first best of 5 this evening, so you really haven't missed much at all. The only thing you missed is that we were almost having to cancel the event and cancel the stream, but then we did find the players. The players did show up, and we did have to replace one of them, I believe, and I think it still stands that ShoWTimE has replaced Cham in the event at the moment, as Cham was not here, and so ShoWTimE will replace Cham in the semi-finals as he was knocked out in the round of 8 by Cham. And as we see this Adept continue to shade up towards the top side of the map. Stargate dropping down as well in the back of the main base. So continue to set up into this and yeah, seeing where he can go. A few more drones on the way, a couple more Zerglings as well, and Zergling speed also on the way out from True. So setting up into all of this right now. Everything we expect it to be. As this Adept will start to chase down a couple of these drones. So Adept starting to chase the drones down, and these drones are going to keep on running away. And keep on sprinting. I mean, Adept, if you can pick up a couple kills, would be awesome. Is he going to shade? I mean, he should. But then he's going to run into these Zerglings, which is going to mean the drones do stay alive. And after a quick trip around the top of Belshir Vestige, they are going to be able to escape and to be fairly healthy with it. Queen and a few drones here are going to be under fire. Then we're going to see this Adept already starting to work his way through a couple of these drones wherever possible. We see this other drone. Ooh, just doesn't quite catch it. And we're going to see the Queen still find the Adept. I mean, the Adept will get away. I mean, it's nice to force extractors and sports, etc., but it's not going to change too much overall. The opening here, by the way, as well from True, something worth mentioning perhaps, is that it was a free hatch before pool rather than hatch gas pool into third hatchery. So it's a little bit greedier from him from the get-go, which could explain maybe slightly why he's taking a bit of damage from these Adepts. You know, at the same time, he's also looking pretty good in general, right? I mean, 41 drones. He's droned up a little bit more heavily now. We see the follow-up or the setup here initially from ShoWTimE has been this Stargate playing. Already this first Oracle has been across the map picking off a couple of workers. Second Oracle about to pop. This is something which obviously now True knows about. Did scout it earlier as well, which is why he let one of the Spore Crawls finish on the third. So he knew about this. He's responded pretty well, hasn't taken too much damage. Stopping ShoWTimE from getting anywhere too crazy. There's now a Void Ray starting up as well. I do wonder if we're going to be seeing ShoWTimE kind of just playing a Sky Toss kind of setup, or whether this Void Ray is just one sort of safety void / clean up Overlord Void Ray. We'll see what he wants to get into here as the Void will finish shortly. And as the third Nexus comes up, we really will get a bit more into his head as to how he wants to play out this second game. Again, guys, sorry that the scores aren't on the screen, but it is 1-0 to ShoWTimE right now. Usually we would have the scores up, but it's my fault. I didn't change the overlay, and well, that's kind of the issue. Is across the map, Oracles do dive to the mineral line, and well, again, just another couple workers. But hey, a couple workers here and a couple workers there. It all adds up as we do now see ShoWTimE come into Twilight, Robo, and Deforge, and so the answer is there. It's not going to be a commitment to Skytoss playstyle. Also, just a Void Ray to start cleaning up a couple of Overlords, etc., and taking a bit of map control for himself. ShoWTimE just, it's an effective choice because it's also going to keep him very safe against a lot of aggressive builds that True might opt to go for, especially if he tries to go in towards that kind of Roach-based playstyle. We saw a lot out of him on the round of 8 day. Then a Void Ray is going to go a long way in helping out against those Roaches. Prismatic alignment against armored units, well, it kind of, that's what you kind of do when you want to melt things, and that's what happens to Roaches when they go up against Void Rays like that. They melt, so that's sort of the situation as we see this Void. We'll hit the 4th base now, and hey, a couple of Oracles still keeping units away from the 4th, and actually killing off a Creep Jimmer there, going to maintain the fact that the Queens, etc. won't be able to get there as easily to deal with this Void Ray, which is, again, causing just a little bit of havoc. These two Oracles still flying around, still looking for another opportunity to get a bit more done, as Void Ray going to step down towards the south side, and again, just trying to do as much as he can to this building. Is getting low, but the 2 Queens here will eventually, again, force him back. Not much ShoWTimE can really do about that one, as True will actually find a way to sneak by a few Zerglings in towards the main base. The rest of the Lings do get blocked by the Zerg. Not sure how these few actually made it in, but just managing to slide their way through, and because of that, will be a slight distraction, but ShoWTimE with a quick Adept warping in right away, he's going to be able to keep himself pretty okay against those Zerglings, taking down the majority of them without any issue at all there towards the end. Spire just over halfway done. Hydroden now researching that muscular augments. That'll be on the way up. And again, we see True just heading in towards kind of a Ling Hydra sort of comp. No Bane Nest just yet. Something we do see, though, is that Spire. That's very different from game number 1. The Spire is something we didn't see at all. And so maybe just going to go for a bit of a Ling Hydra bust in towards a Remax on some Mutalisk, etc. after cleaning out some of the anti-air units of ShoWTimE. And maybe forcing them into some kind of more ground-based units to make sure you can hold off the Ling Hydra waves of aggression. So we'll see what exactly he wants to do. Right now, True doesn't have a lot of money in the bank, but if he was to start sending his units across the map and then taking a fight, it would kind of lead him to this point where he'll have quite a lot of, gas, etc. left over to build meters on a Remax. So, he could do. He's actually just going to build 5 meters for now, and may just look to use the 5 meters or so as a way to fly around the bases, try and take down a couple of workers here and there, just in general act as a bit of a major distraction to ShoWTimE. You see Zealots charging forwards, there's a few deaths behind, and sentries also moving on in to see what else they can get up to. And Psionic Storm now actually finishing up for ShoWTimE as well, so Psystorm finishes up for him as he's going forward. He's going to look to try and hit on towards those High Templar, and a lot of storms have to be dropped right away. There's no anti-air actually in this army, so these High Templar are in trouble. Does morph 1 Archon in at least, but man, this has been okay. And now he's actually starting to lose these sentries. Can he turn around and fight these meters? A couple of them are low, man, but he gets away. And True, what a trade. 2 High Templar, a sentry. I mean, really could not have done anything better for him there. As we do see a few Zealots at least charging up here will cancel a 5th base. ShoWTimE just a little bit of a disaster, losing all his High Templar just as Storm finishes as well. I mean, at least he got some Storms off, but against meters, they're just going to regenerate so quickly. He didn't kill a single one of those meters. And now they're on the map, they're going to pick off a Warp Prism too. Still only 5 of them, but man, is it going to be, have they paid for themselves already? And such a low commitment out of True means that his follow-up is going to be very powerful on the ground. And is ShoWTimE going to be ready for that now? Missing Storms, having to rebuild Storms, and all the rest of it. He's actually building Phoenix at the moment because he obviously wants to make sure he's safe against the Mutalisk for the rest of the game. And, well, obviously, for the most part, Phoenix is not going to be that useful past the meters dying. And if there's only 5 meters they've already paid for themselves, then you're going to have a bunch of Phoenix that just aren't really going to bring their own value into the game. So, going to be tough as we see another Mortal or so joining up on this left-hand side. And, well, Ling and Bane, Hydra moving across. No Bane speed just yet to complement the Hydra speed, but set up in this position. And ShoWTimE looks though he just saw it. It's starting to move back into location, but is a little bit out of position. Still up to this top side as we see, well, meters dive. They do take down a High Templar, and that's obviously a pretty great start as units are going to start moving their way through this position as the Banes will start rolling forwards. The first Storm hits some Mortals, but not actually any Banelings at all. See the Mothership core going down, and well, it does drop a time warp just before it drops, but it's still just, well, from ShoWTimE. I mean, he defends, he pushes it away, but yes, true. Also taking damage at home. I guess it's not so bad for ShoWTimE. I mean, he didn't actually take that much damage overall. Both players losing a similar amount of workers, and yeah, I guess the Banes didn't really kill too much, more so just damaging it and forcing ShoWTimE at this point where he had to start backing away from the fight. But true, backing away himself and dealing with this harassment now that's across the map and causing him quite a lot of issues, putting him into a little bit of a better spot. You'll see these Hydras and Banes again from True, just looking to see what he can get done as we see the Zealots, Archons, Immortals. Still just the same composition from ShoWTimE, and so far looking very similar to game number 1. ShoWTimE taking a couple bad fights and True getting the better end of a couple engagements. But both players still with enough to be very competitive and to keep on fighting as the game continues on. We're going to see a lot of Banes going to crash in towards the natural. And these Bane run bys are very scary to deal with because, you know, how do you really deal with them, I guess, in a way? You know, it's very hard to always pull your probes away correctly and all the rest of it. And I mean, just about here, ShoWTimE will defend after losing multiple cannons, pylons, zealots, and probes. And those Banes really find just a lot of value. And the issue is, it's because they can just get into a position where they're kind of going to force you to fight, and you don't really want to fight. And so it's always a tough one to kind of come out in a good position against that as a Protoss player, as he storms his own Archon to death there towards the end. Pushing forwards though, I mean, this is one of the strengths of ShoWTimE's army after True does what he just did. When you throw a lot of Banes into your opponent's natural, you might not have as much army out on the map to work with afterwards, and the Storm so far doing a beautiful job zoning those Hydras away to the right-hand side, and that means that True can, well, not really get in position at all. Go and defend his left-hand side base. We're going to see a lot of big Storms once again. High Templar's starting to drop, but man, those Storms have got to be worth it. Look at the health of some of these Hydras and Banes. They're going to start going down so quickly as units make their way towards them. Some Lings and Banes, a couple of Hydras being pulled back as well as they are unable to make progress towards the natural. Now with everything intact, he will start to move through there once more. Mothership Core will overcharge from a distance. One Archon in the back as well, helping to push this away, and another Archon from the left-hand side. Still a tricky one from ShoWTimE. Those Hydras deal a lot of damage, and they deal it very quickly. And also ShoWTimE has a lot of High Templar without really any energy on it, which of course is going to kind of suck as well, because they're kind of dead weights until the energy comes back on them. There's the Storm starting to drop on through once more. That's True, still seeing what he can do towards this direction. You can see this overcharge still popped and still working his way through a couple of Banes whenever they get close enough. This Archon going a little bit too much of a wonder and will get picked off. Just still collecting. And towards the center of the map, more Lings, more Banes on the way out. Another couple of Immortals going to keep on popping as well. To the left-hand side, some Stalkers, Zealots, High Templar, and Immortals. I mean, it's ShoWTimE just trying to spread out and anticipate where True might attack from next. Just trying to have some units everywhere to make sure he has something to initially defend and initially slow it down, while the rest of his army rotates into position. So I'll chase them forwards, and again, Banes see what they might be able to connect in on. A few Zerglings going to continue chasing the army away to the left-hand side. Looks as though we just had some Banes over here. Sorry we missed that on screen, but well, it doesn't look as though they killed too much overall, as Lings, Banes, Hydras to the right, affecting a few of their own Zealots. And what I love is the fact that True's taken this south expansion, a base that ShoWTimE would generally be relying on throughout the game to stay even in terms of amount mined. Now going to be in True's favor, and if he can just mine, even if he just mines like a 20-25% of it, that's still way less minerals than what ShoWTime's going to have later, and what ShoWTimE should have later in the game. You're going to see Stasis Ward starting to slow down these Zerglings. Really nice double Stasis Ward. Catches a lot of Zerglings there, and it actually goes a long way to making sure that these Zerglings will not do too much war done, although the warping of High Templar next to Zerglings doesn't really help out. There's a few more Banes dropping once again. And Hydra's going to keep on pushing forward. Going to see the Archon getting picked off, and Phoenix from ShoWTimE. And this guy's obviously able to deal with the mutas earlier. We haven't really seen them doing anything in this game so far. I do feel as though there's maybe just a bunch of High Templar missing Archons as well, as True starts to crash on in. Well, these Immortals going to be enough. There's still a fair amount of Hydras here. Phoenix doing their job of lifting what they can, where they can. A few more Zealots warping, and man, if nothing else, True has at least reset the tech count quite heavily here for ShoWTimE. which is actually pretty nice because it means that now, well, we always talk about this where the army that True is playing is very much so based on momentum and getting some damage done initially and keeping on doing that damage and never really letting the Protoss player max out or mass up a good amount of Immortal Archon. And that's what he's sort of gotten to the this point. That's the sort of point in the game we're in now, I suppose, where True has lowered that Immortal Archon count and kept ShoWTimE fairly low here. And so now his rebuilding units are going to be so much more effective in straight up fights. As we're going to be seeing the Lurker Den is on the way down. Transition here from True as he has a lot of money in the bank. We'll spend a lot of it on Banes and also more Zerglings coming through as well. Getting set up towards another fight. Just to quickly answer a question in the chat, guys. Cham was meant to play the first series of the day, did not show up, hence causing a large delay. And so he has been replaced by Harston as far as I understand at this point. As a storm will be enough to deflect these Banelings initially away up towards the top side of the map. Zealots still being warped in here. Another Immortal on the way out and still just setting it into this. ShoWTimE still looking pretty solid. I feel as though, yeah, he wants to get something over here. Well, does he know about this base? I think he has an idea of it. He's going to come over. No, he didn't. He was actually going to rally right up there, but he's going to find it now. And that's, again, a bit of an issue because it means that he's going to be missing a base to mine from unless he expands up until, up into True's kind of usual 5th base location. So, a bit of a weird one as I think ShoWTimE realizing this now will start to move forwards, but True will use this base as a position to push forwards from with Lurkers, and that's going to make life for ShoWTimE very difficult. Big stasis ward. That's a lot of Zerglings caught here, unable to really do anything as a Phoenix or two going to lift Banes into the sky, try and slow down what they can. At the same time, you see Banes rolling into the 4th base of ShoWTimE, also towards the 3rd, a lot of Zerglings. Where is ShoWTimE's main army? A lot of it up top, the rest of it non-existent. I mean, there's a couple of Archons here, some High Templar too, and as those Zerglings come out, their stasis ward, a couple of Storms and Archons will sort of help their way through this, but ShoWTimE's economy is disappearing very quickly. More and more probes going down. And I mean, even if ShoWTimE comes in now and cleans these out, these Zerglings have more than paid for themselves. 39 probes have dropped now, empowering a gateway as well. I'm just going to be seeing these Zealots and Archons just getting their way through. A couple more Zerglings are left over. A few more Lings going to look for the run-by opportunity to the 4th base. Doesn't find it. We'll have to back away, and still a lot of Lurkers left over here just to defend this 5th base. The rest of the Lurkers, I'm actually unsure where they are right now. There's 11 on the map, actually a lot of them up top left. So not really everything here which True needs, and that's one thing he does have to kind of be cautious of. Don't let ShoWTimE take a fight where he's going to be able to pick off half the army than the other half. Although Lurkers for now will just pick up a lot of free damage. ShoWTimE is going to keep on moving forward. Some drones transferring down here. Meanwhile, a big counterattack over the left-hand side, including Lurkers. Does ShoWTimE respond to this, or is he just going to base trade? It looks like he just wants to trade bases, pushing straight in towards this right-hand side base of his opponent. The Oracle will fly on forwards, and it's a revelation. Will be followed up by the couple of Phoenix, but nothing to really kill off those Lurkers. And, well, Lurkers are going to be one of the major issues in the coming moments because they are going to be something ShoWTimE has to at some point fight into here. And yet, is it something you can fight into? Well, it's not, they're not impossible to engage into, otherwise they wouldn't be in the game. But it's not easy to fight into them. ShoWTimE has the composition going for himself. Still needs to find the correct engagement though, is pushing in towards the natural lair. Starting to pick off Overlord, starting to pick off what he can. In fact, supply blocking True. At least somewhat effective as we see Zerglings continue to work their way through the left-hand side of the Protoss infrastructure also. Taking down first the 4th Nexus, now the 3rd also dropping here. And well, still flying around. We're going to be seeing, well, this army of ShoWTimE just continue to push on forwards, and for the 2nd game in a row, a little bit of a base-ready scenario. You see ShoWTimE just leaving a few Archons and Zealots to continue cleaning up over in the main while he pulls everything else back down to the low ground and thinks about where exactly he might want to go here shortly. ShoWTimE, 14 probes left on the map. I imagine most of them are these probes here in the main, although it's only 10. Where are the other... Oh, no, he's only got 10 probes left. Okay, well... Only 10 probes, they're all in the main. There's no way ShoWTimE can... Unless he has a warp prism, which I don't think he has, yeah. There's no way he can get these probes out onto the map to start building something a bit more useful. As we're going to see a big push in from ShoWTimE up top. Lurkers are going down. ShoWTimE pushes into this. There's another base that will disappear for True. And True is still in a little bit of trouble. Trying to build a couple more Hydras. We're going to see Lings starting to push forwards here. There is High Templars. There's a Sentry. A Cannon as well. Obviously, ShoWTimE just wants to defend with as much as he can. First Storms are going to be somewhat mediocre, really. Not really connected on that much at all. Just protect the cannon a little bit. So this Archon also going down. And so the base trade continues To the point now where ShoWTimE has to just go, because if he doesn't just go now, he's going to lose his buildings, and by then it's going to be way too late. And so we're going to set on up. We're going to see Archon starting to charge on forwards. The High Templar, a couple of them in the back. Storms available will help ShoWTimE to make his way through this army. You see Zealots actually being sent. Try and slow down these Zerglings in the main base. Is ShoWTimE. Can he still make this base trade work out in his favor? Can he still put himself into a position where he wins game number 2 and goes up 2-0 in this best of 5? Circling a few more of them going down here still. The few lurkers that are around are going to be difficult to deal with, as we see a lot of spines building from True, and his ShoWTimE maybe just giving True a little bit too much time, because now True is mining. He's going to have more drone production, more spine production as well, and I think ShoWTimE realizing here he has to start moving forwards. He does hit a revelation on a few of these lurkers, but there's still some in the back that do not have revelation on them, and so they are not detectable. And you see that is exactly what True is trying to run his lurkers back into, some of those unseen lurkers. As ShoWTimE, though, is still killing off quite a lot. He just needs vision on the last couple of lurkers. He doesn't have it. He's losing one more Archon here, perhaps. Yeah, now 3 Archons and 1 Immortal plus the High Templar, but only 9 supply for True overall. So all ShoWTimE has to do is drop one more revelation. When he has that revelation, he sees the lurkers and surely can push into this. 2 spine crawlers as well. The hatchery now goes down. Oh man, I mean, ShoWTimE can't build another probe, so it really is all about just these units. ShoWTimE can't build, I mean, neither can True any longer, right? Unless he's got hidden lava somewhere on the map. I don't think he does. No lava, so it's only 2 lurkers and 4 Zerglings against 4 Zealots and Immortal and 3 Archons. In a way, ShoWTimE can probably just... Oh, well, I mean, he could play this super safely. He's got an Observer. Okay, well, now he can just pop Pulsar Beam and kill the units with the Oracle. I mean, that's it. He can just kill everything with the Oracle, even if it takes him forever. He doesn't even have to risk the larger fight, and he knows this now, and so... It's True now realizing there's an Observer here. He's going to be like, oh, man. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Oracle can just pick his way through these, and again, doesn't even have to take the risk of fighting forwards into it in case he does lose a few too many of those units. GG from True. ShoWTimE in another large 23-minute game. Takes the second game. Man. Into game number 3. To the bottom right-hand side of the map, our red Protoss player. Up 2-0 now in this best of 5 in some crazy games that keep going to super low supply, a number of units and base trades and all sorts. Our red Protoss player from our team, it is ShoWTimE. His opponent top left is the blue Zerg player, down by 2. Can he bounce back from Storm Gaming? It is True. And again, we went into this saying, well, hey, ShoWTimE looks like this super solid macro machine, and I feel as though he should do pretty well against True, especially because True lately just hasn't seemed to be as playing as well as we know True can, and well, so far it definitely seems to be going that way, although the scoreline definitely does not tell the tale of the game. Such a classic saying, but it could not ring true right now with what's been going on. I mean, these games have been stupidly close, coming down to literally 1 or 2 units on either side at some points. And it's just ShoWTimE. He just seems to keep ending up with like 4 or 5 Archons against barely anything left of True, and with no mining left, and also, you know what I mean? Like, there's just... It's so close to these games that the scoreline really does not reflect how it's going so far. Guys, if you are enjoying the stream as we get into our 3rd game, do not forget, hit that follow button to see when we go live again in the future. And to, of course, support the stream too. Do not forget that if you can afford to, subscribing is a super awesome way to support the stream, as well as donating directly. All of it allows us to continue being a full-time stream here on Twitch and bringing you guys a whole bunch of StarCraft action on a super regular basis, pretty much daily. We're going to be live pretty much all week this week, hopefully with NA Challenger League alongside some Team League action. So if you are enjoying the stream, again, remember to hit follow to see when we're live, and don't forget to check out the ways to support as well, because it's because of your guys' support that we can put on events, that we can cast so much, and all the rest of it as well. So it is quite important that you guys support if you are able to. So just set up here, look to see how things will be going. Stalker initially from ShoWTimE to start poking his way at this Overlord. And yeah, just that Stargate on the way from ShoWTimE. So seeing a pretty standard setup once again. We have seen a lot of Stargate based openings in the PvZ as of late, and that's obviously no different here so far today. ShoWTimE, second time he's going to open with the Stargate. Open with the Archon drops in game number 1. The Stargate very popular too lately, even if it is just for Oracles rather than a Sky Toss. There's even just a threat there, you know, that, you know, if you have the Stargate up, it's something which the Zerg player has to be slightly worried about. Is he gonna, are you gonna go Sky Toss? Are you gonna start making carries and going into that composition that can be so difficult for me to fight against? And we do see the Stalker just patrolling over towards the right-hand side of the main, and the 2 gateways on the way up as well from ShoWTimE. I mean, super standard so far. Still all eyes on what further tech gets added into this game as ShoWTimE gets his first Oracle on the way. And there's the Twilight Council, which is going to start making me feel quite happy that it's not Sky. I don't know what it is, but I've come to hate Sky Toss the last week or so. I think we've just seen so much of it. I want to see other stuff now again, and it does seem to be dying out in the meta as well, where everyone is playing it every game, and now we don't see it anywhere near as often. And that's nice. So we're starting to see it kind of diversify once again and move back towards different kind of builds. As just the Twilight this time, not going to be a Forge and a Robo like we saw in the last game all at the same time. Probably because the Twilight's coming down a little bit soon, and probably that means, yeah, Resonating Glaive upgrade to go for a lot of Adepts here very quickly. Now, something we've been seeing a lot of has been the kind of double Oracle Void Ray into like 7 or 8 gate Adept all in. And it's kind of powerful because the Oracles apply pressure early, the Void Ray pushes away the Overlord vision, which helps you to scout. However, ShoWTimE is on 4 gases, which means that he's probably not going to all in, and is instead probably going to look towards the 3rd Nexus. The 4 gas is just a bit too much gas for kind of Adepts, and 7 gate Adept especially, so it's probably just going to be a Nexus here. And still might get very aggressive with the Adepts, but shouldn't be off of too many gateways or anything. I'm still just waiting to see these Oracles doing something here. So far, nothing at all really going on. And 2 of them going to come through the top side and poke in towards this mineral line, actually. And a couple, 2, 3, 4 workers going down. Now a 5th as well. And these Queens are able from True to push the Oracles away up top. But not a pretty moment or so as we have the Oracles going to come back in towards the main. And hey, more damage to be done, really. 6, 7, and now 8 workers killed. Now 9. Not bad at all. 5 workers in one mineral line, 4 in the other. 9 total. And True has, again, just taken some heavy hits to his eco. Now, obviously, ShoWTimE, at the same time, is not exactly kind of ahead on workers or anything. True's being drawn up quite aggressively. It's just right now he'd rather be making units rather than continue to make drones. That's sort of what he's built towards. Drawing up super heavily early games so that he can be on a good work account. And from there, he's going to just make units, not having to, worry about drones. So ShoWTimE kind of putting him off center a little bit here, as we're going to be seeing him pushing forwards. I mean, what's actually there to deal with these Adepts? These are the first Zerglings morphing in right now. There's no other tech structure on the map apart from a spawning pool. So actually, it's only going to be Lings against Adepts, and with Oracles here as well, it's going to be very difficult for True to deal with. He's morphing in 20 more Zerglings. There's already 2 drones going down. The first Zerglings running forwards. I think True might just be in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, this wasn't super all-in or anything by ShoWTimE. It's just caught True sort off guard. The 3 or 4 gates of Adepts continuously warping in. It adds up, and now he jumps in towards the natural middle line. More drones are starting to drop down, and, well, Queens are starting to do their job and working their way through this, but the Adepts as well are actually having a pretty good time still anyway, as you can see Lings moving forwards once more, and this will start to be these Adept numbers thinning out. The man ShoWTimE really knows where to find value with his units. Does shade up into the main despite Lings chasing him down. I would have thought he might have cancelled then, stuck in the natural. As the Oracles to the left-hand side of the 3rd base, try and pick up just a few more kills too. 15 drones going down in total during the last few moments. And that's ShoWTimE now going to be in a army supply lead, in a worker supply lead. And well, his follow-up's going to be so powerful. A lot of gates warping in, immortal production, charge and +1. We already see a few sentries warped in. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more and really just turn this into some all-out aggression from our Protoss player. Move across the map with a couple of immortals and just look to end the game. Because when you've done damage like this, it's so difficult for the Zerg to start recovering, especially if you look to apply pressure immediately after, or as soon after as possible. That said, True does have some money in the bank, and a Hider Den is about to finish up. He's redroned up to 83, and it still is just army supply he's going to be missing out on for the most part. But hey, you still got to consider that double immortal, some Archons being warped in. ShoWTimE's going to have a pretty powerful push on his side to go forward with if he wants to get aggressive, but at the same time he's also dropping down the 4th Nexus. So it's not as though he's super eager to kind of attack and kill. Otherwise he would continue to make a lot more units. As uh-oh, that's going to be awkward. These sentries in a bit of a bad spot as the Zerglings find the mid-map. Big catch here by True. I mean, that's just going to slow ShoWTimE down. Now he shouldn't feel as safe moving across the map either. An Immortal in the back as well. Going to be out of position, and, well, this time he doesn't go down. But it's still just True finding opportunities to slow ShoWTimE down and to put his position he's in into a little bit of a worse one. As an Archon will try and shut these Zerglings off for him. escaping super easy. He actually just jumps between the middle line in case he gets attacked. And the Lings will now continue to back away over to the right-hand side. So the Lings continue to back off. See Archon still gathering up together. Zealots as well. A couple of Immortals here towards the center of the map. A lot of these Zerglings up top from True. And they are going to move forwards and see what they can do as well. I should say move back. Looks as though they're done running around out on the map, as ShoWTimE's still going to go for this aggressive push. It's been a little bit of a while coming, but now he's going to have +1 weapons at least, so that's one thing he has on his side. Will he be going up against quite a sizable number of Hydras though, and I wonder if that, and he sees it, he is just going to force him to move back almost instantly here. Hydras are scary, and especially in high numbers without sort of some more, some better splash damage. You just don't get rid of them fast enough before their damage output really kicks in, and until your army basically just disappears super fast. Like, Hydras can kill a lot very quickly, but where they become weak is when there's a lot of storms involved, and that's immediately what ShoWTimE does now start to set up into. Storm upgrade about 40% of the way done, and +2 attack, also about 20% of the way done so far. Sentry as well is just going to be finishing warping in right now, and a few more Zealots dropping down, going to start charging forwards. You're going to see a First Queen here right away getting picked off. And the rest of these Zerglings continue to run on in as well, and these Zealots still just holding good here so far. And as going to see now a larger warping into the main. Meanwhile, we see, well, actually Zealots of the third get shut down instantly, and actually the harassment here from ShoWTimE wasn't that great. Losing a lot of Zealots to the Balins as well, wasn't quite able to pick all of them up like he wanted to into the Prism. And so for the most part, ShoWTimE is sort of showing some weakness, and True's holding off. He's making the game look rather one-sided so far, and well, it's not the first time we've seen True take leads in this PvZ series. Let's hope that this time he can maybe start to push it into something larger, into something greater, because until now he has actually after taking lead, after lead, somehow still managed to lose it. So I guess we'll see if ShoWTimE can craft himself another victory from behind this time, as well, the Lurkers morphing in, 14 of them right away. It's not going to be a firm number for ShoWTimE to play against at all. There's a few Banes do finish morphing just to the left side here, and they'll be able to pop up into that Overlord and start dropping down in towards the natural expansion. And you've seen the Overlord is indeed moving forwards then, and again these few Banes will get ready to drop down and look to see what they can do. Look to see if they can do anything. The answer is not really anything they can do. And as we're going to be seeing the Hydras and Lurkers just continue to move on forwards, and True. Just looking to see what he can maybe get up to. Obviously there come the Bane. There's actually no Bane speed just yet. Maybe one thing ShoWTimE has on his side, but again, how does he fight into this? Nice revelation to start. Just reveal a lot of those Lurkers, just see the position of the army as well. There's still Lurkers without the revelation on them though, and they are the ones taking the charge. And there's still a decision by True. If you can't see them, then you can't kill them. That's his logic right here, as True just sat behind the Lurkers with the Hydras. Does he want to push forwards? Does he want to push on into this? And that's kind of our big question at the moment. No Bane speed, it's only halfway done. So it might just be that which he waits for before making a bit more of a commitment in the forward locations. We're going to see nice 2 storms showering those Hydras, giving them a little bit of a taste of what the weather's like down here on Abyssal Reef. As still just a Lurker force setting up here. It's actually a very choky map when it comes to trying to push out of your own bases, and so Lurkers can hold down locations very easily as Banes. They do pull in towards the center now, so Banes just sort of relocate themselves. Looks as though ShoWTimE's trying to grab maybe one of those Lurkers or so, unable to though, just taking a lot of shield damage on the Immortals. Losing out on those shields will hurt him a little bit, as well, we still have Banes positioned off over to the left-hand side. +2 missile attack on the way at home for True. Hive on the way up as well. True still trying to set up into this. Some Banes actually, or Zealots charge in towards these Bane lanes. That's not the prettiest of situations, and the Banes, well, do they go forwards here and crash into those cannons, etc.? They're actually going to go up the ramp. Nice storms, wow. Very effective storms. Those High Temple are picking up a whole bunch of kills. 12 kills on one, 10 on the other. Those Banelings took a bit of a massacring right there, as Observer will go down. True, I mean, ShoWTimE still has this issue of pushing in towards these Lurkers, although it hits a really good revelation to initiate a fight if he wants it. He's actually got carriers up. ShoWTimE been transitioning into this while we've been busy watching Banes getting killed off and all the rest of it. Here we go. Oh my god. Moving forwards, we're going to be seeing ShoWTimE is able, well, sorry, I mean True moving forwards with the Hydra. ShoWTimE is very easily able to pick those off, though. 10 Corruptors now on the way. In a way, it feels as though True just wanted to trade them out to start building Archon, Corruptors against these carriers, but man, that was not a pretty fight. He did kill off a few of the High Templar, which is nice. It means there's less storms That's going to mean that the Corruptors are going to be a little bit more viable in the sky, a little bit more sturdy, not going down quite as fast as... Again, Archons starting to move over in this left-hand side, and followed by Immortals, followed by a few Zealots as well. You can see a few of these Zealots to the left also going to get picked off by these Zerglings too, so nice little pick-offs here. So we're going to be seeing a couple of carriers getting to work on these Corruptors up in the skies, and again the Archons looking to see where they can go next, what they can do. Nice cancel, or not even a cancel, but a kill on the top side hatchery is ShoWTimE, making sure True does not get out of 5 bases just yet. ShoWTimE in a similar position back at home, 5 bases, but moving to a 6 base, not going to be easy because True will be able to leap on it, attack in multiple directions, and that's of course where True gets very good in the game. It's going to be very difficult for ShoWTimE to deal with that sort of pressure as carrier count ever increasing now. That is something True has to be aware of and has to be somewhat worried about. We see the Grid Aspire now being brought into play, make use of those Corruptors after they're done in the skies, and of course, well, it can just be a very good kind of air to ground unit in general anyways. As you see, Banes rolling in towards Mineralized. Nice Storm, and Archons up here will clean up pretty much all of those Banes. Really nicely done. Wow, what a shutdown by ShoWTimE. Losing 5 workers, but past that, the Storm plus Archon combo. I was talking earlier about Hearthstone against Cham in the round of 8, and it felt as though in that series Hearthstone wasn't able to adapt to what Cham was doing, but it feels as though in this series ShoWTimE is just finding better and better ways to deal with those Banelings, adapting to what True is doing, how aggressively he's playing, and just being very cautious until he finds the right moments to fight, and that seems to be right now as he pushes through. Lurkers are dropping very quickly. Another Storm on Legions and Hydras as they move forwards. Interceptors going huge on the Corruptors to the right-hand side. Missing a couple more Storms maybe on those Corruptors just to help out towards the very end. 13 more Corruptors on the way will mean that ShoWTimE, I was going to say, he's already doing it though. Void Rays are going to be kind of the real answer. Get rid of those Corruptors nice and quickly with those Voids. And that opens up the skies for the carriers to continue dominating. So this army of ShoWTimE just setting up here. You're going to see still the Lurkers spread out nicely across the front of this base. And the Blink upgrade now coming in as well here from ShoWTimE. So Blink coming on through. You're going to see this mothership does move back, sitting overhead on this army. As we're going to see Archons will move forwards. I mean, the Archons initially and Storms do get some good splash damage done. A lone Void Ray to the right side will be trouble though, as we're going to see the Archons pushing forwards. The Archons need to turn and fight these Corruptors, it really feels like, because they are just making their way very quickly through these carriers. That said, only a few of them left over. The Void Ray is definitely helping out so much. Look at the Corruptors dropping as True loses the Lurkers as well. And then he loses the fight on the ground and in the skies. I mean, only just in the skies. A Parasitic Bomb coming down to try and help out. I mean, only just on the ground as well. Only 4 lower health Immortals left over. A couple of Archons warping in. An intense few moments, but in the end, it is going to be True. He just doesn't quite have as much as ShoWTimE afterwards. However, is it over? Well, it's very hard to say, actually, because these Voids are doing what they can, but Voids in their own aren't going to be enough, and so ShoWTimE is pushed away, and True will survive. But man, that was expensive. True losing all of his Corruptors, obviously all the carriers going down from ShoWTimE as well. I mean, just what a fight on either side. Still can't help but feel, though, that it is ShoWTimE he came out with a little bit of that advantage. Just felt as though he comes out of this saying, hey, well, you know, I killed all those Corruptors. Those were very expensive. I feel as though I'm trading well, and resources lost tab does tend to agree on ShoWTimE's point of things. 23.3k lost to the 35,000. So 12,000 resources lost difference, and considering the mining has been fairly even throughout the game, as we can see on the graph here, it's been a little bit True favored, but not enough to make up for 12,000 resources. We see a Viper being feedback now as it flies through. Drones going down as Zealots continue to harass, charging down workers, trying to expand to a new base as well, a long distance mine at the very least. There's just so little True can do right now. I mean, he's been trying this army again and again and again, but I mean, I know the games have been very close. This is probably the least close game of them all, but it still feels though in a way he's hitting his head against a brick wall, because even the games that are close, he's been ahead in. So why can't he close it out? As you see the one single Lurker that's left in the back. The fleet of Observers at the back from ShoWTimE though will come in and act as detection. High Templar still moving through. Zealots helping to work their way through the reinforcements on the back side of the army. And ShoWTimE, this one is not going to go to a base trade. This one is not going to go 20 plus minutes of... Well, I mean, we're already 18.5 minutes in. This really has been a crazy series. Looking to be a 3-0, but man, some really close games. Again, we go back to the fact that there's just... The scoreline does not reflect how close a lot of these games were. As GG is called, ShoWTimE takes it 3-0, and he will advance into the finals of the Intercontinental Clash number 2. Intercontinental Clash number 1 winner